That's incredible. That really is. So tell me, take me back in your life. Like, how did all this start? And
Oh,
were
wow.
you reared on a farm?
Oh boy, I just did that in a radio interview yesterday. The interviewer said, I see that you were raised on a farm. And I said, well, some say that I was raised on the farm, but I got to tell you something. The farm raised me.
Oh,
And
nice.
when I do one of my keynote speeches, Harvest the Humor, a celebration of life on the farm, we go back to the rural roots that run so deep and the blessings and the lessons we've learned, because we've had that privilege and the opportunity to either raise our family on a farm or to be raised on a farm. And then
Yeah.
how do we bring those joy-filled lessons to where we need to go? And I had a women in ag event last night, and you know how they love to hoot and holler.
Yeah.
And I told them they better let the laughter out, because if not, it settles back down and spreads out their hips. And some of it hadn't been laughing enough, Jane. And so we went back and we spent an hour of pure laughter, appreciation, and celebration.
Oh, that's
And
wonderful.
what a privilege. When they walked out, some of them had laughed, some had cried, some of them didn't want to leave. They stayed for another hour and a half after I was done
Oh,
because they
wow.
had stories to tell. And
Oh, man.
when I said, and you go back and you're going to be all excited, and you know what your spouse is going to say? Oh, she just was with Jolene. Let's give her a couple days. She'll come back to normal.
She'll calm down and be sad again.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I said, so don't you do that. Look at all the friends who came with you tonight. You hang around those folks, and you're going to have one heck of a good time in your life.
I'm telling you, there's a challenge. I remember when Daddy would come in, and I remember being in the house, and the tomato broker said, "Tell your dad to go out there and pick tomatoes. The market's great." And I'd rather did pick tomatoes. And then I went back in the house, and 20 minutes later, "Tell your dad to quit. Bottom just fell out of the market." That was the big expression. The bottom fell out. Like, oh
Yep.
no, don't tell me that. But it is. I remember, like with Daddy, it was 3 weeks. You had to make a living. 3 weeks with vegetables.
If Mother
And like,
Nature helped you, you could do it in 3 weeks.
we could do it in 3 weeks, and that was the growing, and that's the harvesting season. Now the Herlongs, where I married into, it was peaches lasted all summer long. You've got
Ah,
different varieties, and I didn't see how they did it. There was not this little window of a month where everything was intense. It was about 10 weeks of harvest. And I thought, good heavens, this is really aggressive. And then the cows, and then so many other things. But it's a lifestyle. It's definitely not a profession, but the stress that comes along with it, when all the stuff that you have to buy and appease all the powers that be in the government, and the timeline you have and the market prices. I mean, they just pulled up all these peaches over here because for years they have never produced. And they would get the cold snaps, and it was just, hail would come, gone in minutes. And these are the kinds of things, the emotional and the financial. And it's tough. It's the roller coaster of life. But it's incredibly rewarding. But there is a price. There definitely is a price. And I know you see that.
when I really started speaking, Jane, it was back in 1980s, in the late 80s, when our interest rates were 20 and 21%. Now think about that, 21%. And the land values crashed. We lost 63% of our net worth. And the haunting words traveling down every country road was bankruptcy, foreclosure, suicide, and murder. A farmer in our area who was perceived to be in financial difficulty shot and killed his wife. He killed his hired man. He went and killed the president of the bank, and then he killed himself. We bank at that bank, and that president was a member of our farm team as an advisor.
Oh, my word.
And I remember I'm speaking the next day at the Iowa Farm Bureau annual meeting. And that morning before we left our room, on CNN, the Today Show, and Good Morning America, they showed the blood-splattered blinds of the president of the bank's office. Agriculture's in trouble. There's no hope, there's no way. Look what these people are turning to. And Jane, I walked out where we had about 2,000 people out there, and I know what they're thinking. My gosh, if that happened to him, could it happen to me? And
Right.
what do we do to stay tough on the inside when the roller coaster on the outside is so very hard?
Yes.
And so I changed my speech on the spot, and it was, how do you build a self-worth and keep it separate from a net worth?
Oh, Jolene, that
And
was
the entire
brilliant.
speech was working on that bank account. And what I know is that it wasn't until I was coming down the escalators because I was shaking. That was hard to do. And
Man.
at the bottom was ABC, CBS, and NBC. And I turned around to see who was coming. There wasn't anybody else coming, just me, right? And then I had to realize to them, they wanted me to make a statement. I thought, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have a statement to make. But I did say it was the day that we in agriculture learned how to separate our self-worth from our net worth is the day we're going to be okay.
Oh, that was just brilliant. Great
And
day.
that's how I started in agriculture. And then it became very obvious, not is that only a skill many people need, not just agriculture, but we also need the other people skills. And that's what I specialized in. That's what really has allowed me for over 30 years, just as you, to work with some of the best people on this planet. And that is the people of agriculture.